I'm Dr. Bree, and welcome to day 5 of our Yoga for Beginners series. Today is all about balance, and we're going to be introducing some moves that we're going to be using in the next video, the final video, flow. We're also going to be doing some challenging moves such as tree pose, but we'll work into it. So today I have my friend Laura. I'm so excited to have her here. Laura is awesome. She and I have known each other for several years, and we have never done yoga together.
Nope.
Now, I know she does have some flexibility, but yet she's still new to the practice, so we'll all be learning together. So let's get right into it. As usual, I'd like you to have your blocks at the top of your mat, so have them handy, and we will need a yoga strap for later on in the video, or you might need it. So just have a yoga strap handy and nearby. We're going to begin by coming into the moment. So start in mountain pose, hands at your sides, open your shoulders, roll your shoulders up and down your back, open your palms. Try not to let your ribs jut forward. We want to pull them back in. Tall and lifted through the crown of your head. Take a deep breath. And as usual, we want to slow down the breathing. So really take some time to take a few nice deep breaths, slowing down the breathing, lengthening the spine, and just letting go of any concerns or cares or to-do list items. A big part of yoga is about using these postures to still the mind and get to know your body and also come into the moment. So one more deep breath in and out. And we're actually going to begin today on our bellies. So go ahead, Laura, and lie down on your belly. We're going to start with baby cobra. I'm going to show you from the front. Laura will show you from the side. So baby cobra, you're going to want to be on your belly with your hands really close to your bra strap line, your chest line. You want your hands on the ground. You want your elbows pointing back toward the back of the room, so not winged out to the side like this, elbows pointing back. Lengthen one leg behind you, and then the other leg behind you. And really firm up your thighs so you're lifting your kneecaps away from the floor. This in itself is a lot of work. If you're doing it right, you should really feel a lot of work in your thighs. Your bottom might be feeling a little something. You're starting to really work that leg strength, that core strength, the hip strength, which we'll be using a lot of in today's routine. So right here, I want you to use your back muscles, so not so much your hands, to lift up and then come down. So again, lifting up, keeping those elbows pointing straight back and down. Let's breathe with this. So you're going to inhale up and exhale down. Keep with that breathing, Laura. Keep going, everybody. Keep going. Inhale up and exhale down. And it's wonderful because her neck is not cranked. She's looking neutral. Her gaze is forward, neutral. It's not like she's looking up like this. We'd never want to crank the neck. So let's do 2 more times, Laura, up and down. Very good. Keeping the breathing going, keeping those legs nice and strong, using those back muscles, engaging the back body, and then when you're done, just take a rest. Put your hands on or under your forehead. All right. So we're going to go into another wonderful back body strengthener, just an opposite arm and leg lift. So arms in front, and you're going to engage your core. So think pelvic floor lifts, low tummy pulls up just a little bit toward your spine. You're just strong through your center. And you're going to lift opposite arm and leg off the floor, just a couple inches. Beautiful. And down. So just breathe steadily with this. I don't want you to worry too much. Go to the other side, opposite arm and leg. Don't worry too much about when you inhale, when you exhale. Just be sure, don't hold your breath, okay? So don't hold your breath. Keep going back and forth. And what I want you to think of is however high one pair lifts up, the other pair should lift up just as high. So try to be equal between your two sides. The other thing I want you to think of is that the leg is shooting straight back. It's not going out to the side. Sometimes the leg will want to kind of wing out to the side, but I want you to think straight back toward the back of the room. So go ahead and do one more time on each side. And then we are going to move into a tree pose on your belly. So go ahead and place your hands under your head. And you're going to bend up your right knee. Nice. Perfect. Now, I want you to think about in this pose here, it's kind of like tree pose, which you've probably seen before, but you're lying down. I want you to think about working your hips. So right now it's Laura's right hip. Try to work it down toward the floor. Now, this might be way too much in the position she's doing right now. You might need to have your leg a little bit lower, maybe down like that, maybe even lower still. That's fine. Wherever you are is no problem. Just try to work the hips toward the floor. They will not touch the floor, and that is totally okay. Just work the hips toward the floor and try to bring the knee up, if you can. Try to bring the foot closer to your straight leg if you can, but don't worry too much about it. This really should be more of a restful pose. See if you can melt into it. And we'll move into the same thing with our opposite arm and leg lifts. So you're going to just straighten everything out. Lengthen your right leg behind you, lengthen your left leg behind you, and lift opposite arm and leg off the floor. Just a couple of inches. It does not have to be a big lift. Keep going, keep going. You want to be engaged and strong through the core. You want to make sure that your pelvis isn't really tipping super strongly back and forth as you lift the legs. So it's just a gentle lift of one leg and opposite arm, and then the other leg and opposite arm. Remember, please do not hold your breath. It's really important for your core health, your pelvic floor health, and just keeping oxygen flowing throughout your body, keeping energy and prana, if you want to think of it that way, flowing throughout your body to keep breathing. So let's do one more time on each side. Very nice. And then rest your head on your hands. And other side, bend up the leg into that modified tree pose on your belly. So again, working those hips toward the floor. The knee can be bent less or more. It can be higher up toward your shoulder or lower down toward the floor. You want to work that foot maybe toward the straight leg, but it does not have to be touching. Just do what's comfortable for you. And I want you to really release into this. Just breathe deeply and feel that over time, your body can kind of melt into this position. We're not doing anything quickly today. Our focus is being slow and steady. So just take your time and ease into this position. Go ahead and release your leg back. Come up onto your hands and knees carefully, however you can get onto your hands and knees. Beautiful. And we're going to go into cat and cow pose. Now we've done this before. You want your hands to be under your shoulders. Nice wide spread fingers. Your knees are under your hips. Your feet are straight back behind you. They're not out and they're not in. Straight out behind you. And in this position, I want you to tuck your tail under you as you lift your pelvic floor and pull your belly button in toward your spine. Exhale. And then inhale, come into cow pose. So this is cat pose. Tuck your tail under, lift your pelvic floor and your belly toward your spine. Exhaling. And cow pose. Inhale. Exhale, lift your pelvic floor, pull low belly toward your spine. Cat pose. And inhale, cow pose. Now come back into neutral spine position, so your back is flat. And think about lifting your low belly away from the floor without tucking your tail under. So lift that low belly away from the floor. Nice, firm, strong core muscles. Hold it here. And you are going to lift opposite leg and arm off the floor. So we'll start with the leg. Lift your leg back. Say left leg. How about that leg? Left leg back. Keep your hips square facing the ground. And then if you want to add the arm, you can lift your right arm off the floor and just hold it. Now try flexing at your ankle and really pressing your heel back. So you're flexed at the ankle and your hand is reaching forward, reaching in opposition. Now stay right there. Keep breathing. Stay, stay, stay. You've got this. Nice job. I'm going to make sure Laura's belly is lifted away from the floor. Nice. And our hips are square facing the ground. Lift that belly. Very nice. Hips are square. Lifting that leg. It's so good. Again, the right arm could be lifted if you were up for that, but it's great that she's not. I think it's perfect right here. And now bring that knee down. Stay right where you are. Now we're gonna walk our hands forward just a couple of inches. Inhale into a plank from your knees, a knee plank, and then elbows close to your side. Exhale down, and then inhale, baby cobra. And then exhale, come up and press back into puppy pose. So you might need to walk your hands forward a little bit. You wanna keep your hips right above your knees. So it's not way back like this. Your hips are above your knees. Now, you might be up here like this, or your head might touch the ground. Just do whatever is comfortable for you. Again, you want to make sure hips are above the knees. That looks perfect. You want to really crawl those hands forward and feel that stretch in your upper back. This is a great opener for your pelvic floor and your hip muscles. You should really feel a nice kind of opening between your sit bones, your sitting bones. Feels really good for tight pelvic floor muscles. This is a great one. Take another deep breath. And then come up onto your hands and knees again. So hands and knees. Let's do one round of cat and cow. So go ahead and cat pose, exhaling. And then cow pose, inhale. And then come to neutral, flat back position. Lift belly button away from the floor without tucking your tailbone under. And then you want to lift the opposite arm and leg. So before we had our left leg back, now let's bring our right leg back. You want to bring it straight back. Make sure it's not coming out to the side or coming in. Straight back. Up and reaching toward that back wall, maybe flexing your ankle and really reaching the heel toward the back wall now. Make sure your hips are square and your belly is still lifted away from the floor. Maybe lift your left arm, or maybe not. Just do what feels good to you and hold it. Keep holding it. Keep holding it. Nice job. So you might feel that you're tipping a little bit toward the left leg. So let's try to make you a little bit more weighted toward the right. So shift your weight just a little more. There you go. And lift your belly button away from the floor. That'll give you the stability. Don't hold your breath. Keep breathing. Lifting that leg. Perfect. Shift a little more toward the right. There you go. Notice where your weight is. This is so important for balance and core control. Okay, go ahead and put the leg down. You're gonna walk your hands forward a couple of inches. Inhale to knee plank, plank from your knees. Really engage your core, lift your pelvic floor, pull your belly in. Exhale, modified chaturanga. Inhale, baby cobra. And then exhale, puppy pose. Good, hold it here. Couple of deep breaths, stay right where you are. Beautiful, walking those hands forward. So nice, keeping the hips above the knees, just like that. Releasing the pelvic floor muscles. And then come back onto your hands and knees, and 2 times we're gonna go through that flow that we just did, that chaturanga, cobra, and puppy pose flow. So hands 2 inches forward, inhale, knee plank, exhale, modified chaturanga, Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, puppy pose. Maybe walk your hands forward. Come up onto your hands and knees. Walk your hands forward a couple of inches. Inhale, plank from your knees. Exhale, chaturanga, nice and slow. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, puppy pose. One deep breath in and out. And let's go ahead and come up, crawl up carefully. We're gonna move into a standing position. So carefully get yourself up however you best can. And we're gonna move into our standing moves. Okay guys, we're standing up now. Let's start. We're really gonna do some balance work today. So the balance comes from your center, from your core. So we're gonna start with hip circles, of course. Laura knows I love hip circles. Now, go ahead and just move your hips in a circle on the ground beneath you, trying to keep your shoulders and your head fairly still. So don't worry about getting this perfect. If you feel stiff, that's okay. A lot of people feel really, really stiff and weird doing this when they first start out, but with time and practice, you will get the hang of it. So one more time, and then let's go the other way. So circle around, just loosening up the hip joints and the spine joints. This is a really great move for overall core and spine and pelvic health. Couple more times. Okay, finish up, and we're gonna move into a sequence that you're gonna see in the next video in this series. So, facing at the top of your mat, you are going, actually Laura, you stay where you are, I'm gonna face forward here for a minute. So you're going to breathe and inhale, arms up. Exhale, your hands come down. As your hands come down, lift your pelvic floor. You're exhaling. Lift your pelvic floor. Do a gentle kegel. Pull in your low belly. Bend your knees and touch the ground. It's a lot to think about. Now, hands on your shins or your thighs. Inhale, flat back. So it looks like this. Then exhale, belly button to spine and fold forward. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands at your heart. Okay, let's do it again. So you're going to inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands down, lift your pelvic floor, pull belly button to spine, bend your knees, touch the ground. Inhale, hands on your shins or your thighs, flat back, look forward. Exhale, belly button pulls in and you bend your knees and fold. Inhale, wing your arms up. Exhale, hands at your heart. One more time like that. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down, lift your pelvic floor, pull in your low belly, bend your knees, touch the ground, fold. Inhale, flat back, look forward. Exhale, bend your knees and fold. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands at your heart. Slight variation now. Bend your knees, hands down. And we are going to inhale, arms up, chair pose. Exhale, lift pelvic floor, belly button to spine, fold forward. Inhale, flat back, look forward. Nice. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up, either overhead or at your heart, chair pose and hold it, chair pose. Stay there, stay there. Great. So she's keeping her knees right over her ankles. Don't let your knees knock inward. Maybe put your hands at your heart. Good. Sitting back so that your knees are not beyond your toes. Lengthen your spine. Pull in your belly. Nice. So you want to make sure that you're sitting back and maybe even bring your feet a little closer together. Good. Sitting back, again, space between your knees, don't let them knock together. They want to be the same amount of distance as your ankles are apart. Lengthening your spine, lifting your front. And now, if you can, go ahead and release if you need to, but if you can, hover your heels 1/4 inch off the ground, working that balance, and then set them down. Down, touch the floor. Bend your knees, inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands at your heart. Okay, nice. Shake out the legs, and we're gonna move into our standing balance sequence. We're gonna learn 2 new moves today, warrior 3 and tree pose. So let's start with high lunge, which we have done before. Your left foot is in the left lane of your mat. Your right foot is gonna stay in the right lane. Hands on your hips. You are going to step back into a high lunge. So this pose in itself works your balance. And this might be where you want to stay today, and that's okay. If you want to have a wall nearby, maybe you can even face the wall and put your hands on it, but we're going to keep doing this. If you need that though, if you need that support, that's fine. Make sure your knee in the front is facing forward. Make sure it's not going over your ankle. You don't want it to fall in. You want to keep it directly over your ankle. Work your right heel back. Try to straighten your right leg as much as you can, and try to keep your hips square facing forward. So you might need to raise that right hip up just a little bit in order for your hips to be square. Strong through the core, lifting through the front, lengthening slightly through the low back, and maybe you can bring your hands up into crescent lunge. Breathe deeply. One more breath in and out. Now hands back on your hips. And we are going to take this. You want to have your blocks nearby toward the front of your mat. We're going to go into warrior 3. So you can step the right leg forward, and you can put your hands on blocks or in prayer at your chest. So I'm going to bring Laura some blocks, but this is what we're going for right here. Now I'll show where we might want to start. So yeah, step forward, Laura. Carefully, maybe put your hands at your chest to begin with, or straight down onto the block. See what feels better to you. Nice, and you can keep that leg low. It does not need to be high. We want to work toward keeping the pelvis level, so hips are square toward the floor. You want to lift the low belly, strong through the core, really lift belly button toward the spine. This leg, you want to keep the right hip and the right leg in the right lane of your mat, okay? Work on that. Work toward shifting that weight this way just a little bit. It's really hard, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Work towards straightening that bottom leg. But this is something that takes time. Try lowering your leg a little bit more. We don't need to be quite so high. Lower that leg down a little bit more. Lift belly button toward your spine. How does that feel?
Feels better.
Yeah. So again, this might be your starting point, or your foot might still be touching, and that's okay. We want to work toward and lose your balance. That happens. We want to work toward straight through the left leg and kind of a T shape with your body. So my right leg is pointing straight back. My hips are square. My belly is lifted. And that leg is nice and high off the ground. But if we're down here, and even if the standing leg is bent a little bit, that's okay, as long as you are not dumping into this left side. We want to be shifting so that our weight is centered over the mat, centered over the line as much as possible. So use blocks, use what you need to use to get this right and to get that form perfect. Very nice. Okay, you're doing awesome. Now, we are going to release. You can step it forward, or you can in one smooth move walk up, lift up your leg toward a flexed position, and we're gonna go into tree pose. So you should really be feeling it on your standing leg right now. If you need to take a break and shake things out, go ahead. You're gonna have your right heel on your left foot. We're gonna start there, lift through the pelvic floor, lengthen through the tail. Again, hold on for support if you need to a wall. And I'm gonna show from the front. Stay right here, lifting through the standing leg, lifting up. Lifted through the front, lengthen through the back, hands at your heart. Or you can try this, Laura, if you'd like. Go a little bit higher onto your calf. Now make sure that this doesn't happen. You want to lift through that standing leg. Feel that your foot is pressing in toward your calf and your calf is pressing in toward the foot. So it's a growing upward feeling. Again, hold on to something for balance if you need to. Root through your toes, ground through your foot, and breathe. Lengthen through the crown of your head. Now, you can stay right there, pressing that knee open. Nice, good job. Keep the hips square, or you can go a little higher. You don't want to be pressing on your knee joint itself. You want to be either on your inner thigh or your inner calf or on your foot. But again, don't let this happen. You want to grow and lengthen and lift upward. One more breath in and out. It's okay to sway. Trees sway in nature. We can sway too. Lift through the pelvic floor and release it carefully. Nice job. Shake out your legs and shake out your arms and really let it all go. Wiggle out your bottom, wiggle out your top. So important to release because that whole time, even if it was unconscious, you were using your core muscles to hold you. Now, I didn't say something on this side, which I want to say for the next side. Focus on something that's not moving when you're balancing. It's a really great way to make sure you don't fall over, okay? So let's go ahead and move on to the other side. So you're up at the top of your mat, hands are on your hips. Right foot is in the right lane, left foot is in the left lane, high lunge. Hips are square, pointing forward, sink down. Try to straighten that back leg. Lift through the front of your core, lengthen through the low back. Again, pelvis is level, so you might need to lift the left hip up just a little bit. If you'd like to bring your arms up into crescent, go for it. One more deep breath in and out. Make sure the arch on your front foot is lifted. You're not collapsing through the foot. And then hands at your hips. You're going to really engage through your core and step that left foot forward. And we're going to move into warrior 3. So here is what we're going for. Hands at your chest, legs straight back. You want to look down and see that your left leg is over the center or more in the left lane, not everything dumping into the right lane of your mat. So lift through that standing leg. Pelvis is level. And remember, your leg can be low and your hands can be on blocks. So keep holding it, keep holding it. Nice job. I'm going to move this leg. So Laura's leg is coming out to the side just a little bit. We want to move it in. We want to lift through the low belly. Her pelvis looks really level on this side. I think this is actually your stronger side.
Yes.
Yeah, I can tell. And that's really typical that everyone's going to have one stronger side than the other. So you can see it's a little easier for Laura to keep this perfect position right here. Maybe since this is easier for you, you want to try putting your hands at your heart? And remember, it's okay if you lose your balance a little bit. That's totally fine. Hold it for one more breath. And then remember from here, we're going to either step the foot forward or just carefully bring it up into a flexed position. Strong through the core. Hold it. Good. And moving into our tree pose. So zipped up through the core, nice and engaged through the pelvic floor and low abs. Your left heel is on your right foot to start. Make sure that your right hip is not jutted out to the side. We want to lift strong and lengthen through your spine. Hold it here. And then you can move that leg. Focus on one thing in front of you that's not moving. Move the foot up so it's on the lower calf. Have a wall or chair nearby if you need it for balance. Lift through the low belly, lift through the pelvic floor, lifted through your core. And then stay there, or You can go up to your inner thigh for tree pose. Just make sure that you don't put your foot on your knee joint because that can really hurt your knees. So grounded and rooted through that standing leg, lifting up. Again, it's totally normal for one side to be easier than the other. Focus on one thing that's not moving and press this, yes, beautiful. Pressing that knee back without moving your whole body. Beautiful, stay there for one more breath if you can. Trees sway, remember that, it's okay. Bend, don't break, right?
Yes.
Yes. All right. And one more breath if you can, or not. Go ahead and come down carefully. Nice job. Shake it out. Release everything. Release your belly. Release your bottom. Release it all. Shake it out. One more quick round of hip circles. Big hip circles. You can make them big circles on the ground. Go ahead and let your shoulders get into it. And go the other way. Stretch everything out. We're going to come into some seated postures and then call it a day. So you will need a strap coming up, or you may, not everyone will. So if you think you have some tight hamstrings, go grab a strap. We are going to sit down on the floor. Okay, so I'm going to give Laura this strap right here, and we are going to begin with Janu Shirshasana. So I'm going to actually move my mat out of the way. My pants make it difficult to see what's going on here with my legs. We're going to bring right leg into the left inner thigh. So you're going to begin by lifting up as you inhale, and then exhale, twist your body over that left straight leg. Hands can be on the ground either side. Have that strap handy if you might need it. Lift up as you inhale, and then exhale, just come forward toward, your hands are on the shin, but you want to be, and wrap the strap if you need it around the ball of your foot, holding on to both sides. Yep, you got it. If you don't have a strap or you don't feel like you need one, put your hands on your shins or either side of your shins, and make sure you're hinging from your hips and not rounding like this. So even if you have to be right here and not lean forward at all, that's okay. Just so you know, you can also do this seated on a folded up blanket or on a yoga block. That can help put you in a better position if you have really tight hips. So in this position, continue to lift as you inhale, and then as you exhale, pull belly button to spine and fold a little bit more. So inhaling, lift, exhaling, fold. It's a slight twist and a forward fold. Really nice. Inhale. Think about sliding your rib cage, Laura, from the right to the left, just a little bit. Yeah. And then see if that helps you fold a little bit further.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So if you're in this position, you want to think about sliding your rib cage toward the straight leg, just a slide, and that can help you fold a little bit deeper into the twist and the hamstring stretch. It's really important to open up the hamstrings and the back of the legs. This is an area that tends to be really tight on many individuals. If your knee needs to be slightly bent because those muscles are tight, then you can absolutely do that. Go ahead and,
great.
Doesn't that feel better? Yeah. So one more breath, inhale and exhale, fold. You almost always want to inhale, lengthen, exhale, fold. It really helps with getting deeper into these stretches. So go ahead and carefully come out of the pose, and we will do the same stretch on the other side. So now left foot goes into the right inner thigh. You want to inhale, lift and lengthen your spine. Exhale, twist over that straight leg. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, hinge forward from your hips, maybe wrapping that strap around the ball of your foot. If you did so on the other side, try to make sure that you're not tipping to one side. You want to keep your sit bones grounded into the floor beneath you. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, folding. Now this time, this is my right leg. This is our right straight leg. So you might want to think about inhaling, sliding the ribs from the left to the right as you fold. That can help deepen you into this twist and forward fold. So it's a rib cage slide this way. Slide and fold. So stay there. When you're stretching holds like this, go ahead and keep holding it, Laura. You're doing great. You never want to bounce like this, but you absolutely can ease into things using your breath as a guide. So stay right where you are. Laura's keeping her sit bones grounded down into the floor. She's lengthening her spine and really hinging from the hips. It's beautiful. And again, remember, you can absolutely bend just slightly that straight leg knee if that helps. The key is that you're nice and hinged from your hips and not hunchy through your back. So go ahead and release the stretch. And we're gonna end with a really nice wide leg forward fold. So both legs wide to the side. And I'm gonna set up the blocks for you, Laura. You can have the blocks like this and this, or like this and this. Now you can even have a pillow on top of all of this, but Laura is just going to hinge forward from her hips. Inhale, lengthen her spine. Exhale, hinge forward and place her forehead on the block. Beautiful. You can have your hands on the ground, wherever it's comfortable for you. You really want to relax and release into this pose. So she is nice and hinged at her hips. The legs are out to the side. I want this pose to be really restful. It's our final pose, and it's really a resting, relaxing pose right now. So just release into it. You take slow, deep breaths. Feel your body melting into this position. Just totally relax. Let go. Breathing slowly and easily. Taking our time here because we're actually using this as our Shavasana today, our final pose. So really release into it. All right, take one more deep breath, slow, easy, deep breath, in and out. And then walk your hands underneath you. You can lift your head carefully up off the blocks. You can look up, look down, move your blocks to the side. If you need to stagger your legs and kind of windshield wiper them out in front of you or do any final stretches, you can absolutely do that. Go ahead and go the other way since you stretch that way. Nice. Little stretch there. And we will end in an easy pose. Hands at heart. And thank you so much for joining. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time for our final video in the Yoga for Beginners series. And until then, remember, eat clean, move every day, and you will shine brighter. Bye.
Bye.